Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's neighborhood meeting. My name is Rachel Mulholland, and I am the planner with the city's Development Services Department. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to present you, the neighborhood, development concepts being considered by the owner and development team of both 1 Hollyholme Farm Road and 282 King Street prior to formal development applications being submitted to the city. This provides an opportunity for the development teams to hear initial community feedback and incorporate it into their plans prior to making a full and formal development application submission to the city. Please be aware that we are recording this meeting for the public record. The recording will be used for the purpose of garnering your input and to respond to inquiries and will be considered public information. Please also be aware that as a registered attendee tonight, your mailing or email address will be added to the mailing list so that you can receive further information about this application as it progresses. Should you have questions regarding this collection, please contact the Development Services Department. I would also like to let everyone know that there are staff behind the scenes managing technology tonight. They're here to make sure that the meeting runs smoothly, to grant participants the opportunity to speak, and to assist with any questions in the chat. Please bear with us if we have any issues. And if for some reason you get disconnected, please feel free to log in again. The intent of tonight's meeting is to provide members of the public with an opportunity to become familiar with the development applications and the planning review process, and also to ask applicants any questions and provide feedback after they've presented. So what can you expect during tonight's virtual neighborhood meeting? A brief overview of the city's review process and timing, a presentation from each applicant's representative describing their proposals, and an opportunity to ask questions of either the applicants or city staff and provide comments or identify concerns with the application. What not to expect: city staff recommendations on the application or a detailed analysis on these proposals. This will occur later in the review process. Or a debate on the merits of the proposals between city staff and the applicants. Before we get into the presentations, I just want to quickly highlight the next steps in the application process. This neighborhood meeting is established early in the development process to ensure local concerns are incorporated or addressed through the city's review. After this meeting, we expect that the applicants will make formal submissions for their development projects. Formal submissions undergo a full technical review and must address comments received from this neighborhood meeting, from the city's technical departments and external agencies, and from members of the public more broadly. In conjunction with this, a statutory public meeting will be held virtually on each application at a public meeting. At a public meeting, applicants present their application to council, answer questions, and provide an overview of and response to any issues, concerns identified during a prior neighborhood meeting. As part of a public meeting, members of the public also have an opportunity to provide verbal or written comments.
Hello.
Following the public meeting, staff will continue their technical review process, and the applicants will make any necessary revisions to the development proposal. Once the review process has concluded, the staff recommendation report is brought forward to council for their consideration. All comments received throughout the review process, including those received at the neighborhood and public meetings, are identified and addressed in the staff report and form part of staff's recommendation for each subject application. All right, the staff reports for these particular applications would likely be brought to council forward to council sometime this year in 2024. I will now move on to the applicant's presentation, to each applicant's presentation. As I mentioned, each proposed project and application will be presented first, which will follow with a question and comment period. Apologies, something is stuck in my throat. So tonight we are focusing on 2 applications in the same area with similar proposals. Our first application is for a zoning bylaw amendment and official plan amendment applications to permit an automotive sales establishment use at 1 Hollyholme Farm Road. The applicant's planner is Jonathan Benchkowski from Soul Arc Limited. The proposal will facilitate the conversion of an existing building to a used car dealership with approximately 747 square meters of gross floor area. I will now hand the meeting control over to Mr. Benchkowski, who will first introduce himself and then share his presentation on the proposed development. Over to you, Jonathan.
Thanks, Rachel. Good evening. I mean, Rachel, Angela. My name is Jonathan Benchkowski. I'm a planner with a company called Solark, and I'm here to present a proposed zoning bylaw amendment as well as an OP amendment for the conversion of an existing building into a car dealership, a used car dealership. Now, bear with me for 1 sec, because for some reason, Adobe has completely disappeared from my ability to share. Just give me 1 second. Okay, there we go. I'm assuming everybody can see.
No.
No,
It's not there. No.
it's not. It's showing it on my end as being shared.
It's
We're
not.
just seeing a toolbar.
Oh. Okay, bear with me for 1 sec. Oh, it's just sharing the toolbar, not the screen. Okay, 1 sec. Let's try this. Okay. I think we can see it now, correct?
Yes, it is there.
Okay, so the proposals for a zoning bylaw amendment and an official plan amendment to facilitate the conversion of the subject property into vehicle sales. The site context, it is located at the corner of King Street and Hollyholme Farm Road on the southeast corner. With the proposal, the only alteration to the site or the building is a proposed new sign that will be placed along the western frontage. In terms of the required work, the only required work that will be proposed is additional landscaping along the south and the west portions of the site. The dwelling itself, the building itself will remain exactly as is. Vehicles that are to be sold will be stored on the interior of the property within the building here, with all the asphalt, again, green areas to remain as is, except for the additional landscaping that is to be proposed. As we can see here, the location of the new sign that will front Hollyholme Farm Road, representing the GTR Auto Group, is proposed along the top kind of facade of the mansard sloped roof there, with all elevations and everything else remaining exactly as the same. Bear with me for 1 sec. As I previously mentioned, the only alteration is new landscaping features. I have outlined them here in terms of some large native deciduous trees, as well as shrubs and perennials, and some tall native grass. The one alteration would be also just the identification of some snow storage areas. That was not part of the original building permit application, as that was not subject to a site plan approval application. It was just a building permit. Again, fairly straightforward. In terms of the property, it will remain as is. It's really just a change of use that requires the zoning bylaw amendment application. And I think that's essentially it, Rachel.
So presentation number 2. Here. Our second application is for a zoning bylaw amendment application to permit an automotive sales establishment use at 282 King Street. The applicant's planner is Angela Baldwin from Baldwin Planning and Development Consultants. This proposal will facilitate the partial conversion of an existing building to a used dealership with approximately 14,841 meters of gross floor area. That is the whole building. The partial conversion will be use less gross floor area, as it does have other uses in the building. I will now hand the meeting control over to Ms. Baldwin, who will first introduce herself and then share her presentation on the proposed development.
Hi, thanks, Rachel. So my name is Angela Baldwin. I'm a land use planner with Baldwin Planning and Development Consultants in Barrie, and I am representing Rosewood Auto Plus Limited, who had a pre-consult meeting with the city on May the 8th to discuss the potential rezoning of their lands at 282 King Street to allow a automotive dealership at their property. So Olga, I'm not sure, are you able to put the presentation on the screen? Oh, thank you very much. Wonderful. Okay, so the subject lands, as noted, 282 King Street, they're identified in red hatching on the drawing. So they're on the south side of King Street, west of Hollyholme, right along the southern boundary of that King Street industrial development that was developed a number of years ago. Now, if I can go to the next slide, please. The property itself is 104 meters in frontage, has a depth of 145 meters, and an area of 1.5 hectares. And then surrounding land uses include commercial and light industrial uses to the west, vacant lands to the south, industrially zoned lands and light industrial to the north and east. On the property, there's one existing building with 3 units. And the unit that is proposed to be rezoned is Unit B1, which is the far westerly unit. Total square footage of the entire building is about 4,500 square meters, about 49,000 square feet, of which the building that is subject to the rezoning is approximately 9,000 square feet. There's 94 parking spaces on the site, some at the front and some at the back of the property. And the other 2 uses are light manufacturing and the applicant. So their operation really is just an office. So there would be no proposed exterior storage of or display of cars on the property. They operate solely within an office. So they do sales and leasing virtually. So it really just looks like an office on the inside is all it would look like. So if I can go to the next slide, please. Is the slide moving along? It seems like the pictures aren't moving along. Okay, I wonder if there's, oh, there we go. Okay, thank you. So the subject lands are identified. This is just the planning context. Subject lands identified in red with the employment area industrial designation in the official plan. And then on the right side, they're identified in red, currently zone light industrial, LI. If I could have the next slide, please. And then I just identified the proposed zoning bylaw that the city is working on right now. It's in a draft form. But the intent is to rezone the lands to employment industrial, which would permit an automotive sales and leasing establishment if it is approved. It's not yet approved, still needs to go through additional consultation before that can be brought back to council. But that is just showing the future direction that staff is going in terms of the proposed zoning bylaw. So what is on the table today, if I can go to the next slide, please, is to rezone the property to light industrial exception, and that exception being to allow the automotive sales and leasing establishment as a permitted use on the subject lands. If I can get the next slide. So the zoning bylaw amendment, it would facilitate the development of the automotive sales and leasing establishment. There's no proposed changes to the building. It would be exactly as it is presented today. No exterior or interior changes. Appropriate parking is provided in the front and rear of the building. And it's an appropriate use for the site in that really there would be no change in terms of how the building operates from today to the proposed change if it was approved. And it conforms to the commercial policy statement, the growth plan, and the City of Barrie official plan. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.